This season of The Ones Who Succeed is brought to you by Skillshare.
You're scared that you're always going to go out of business and you're never going to be able to pay people's wages. That is just, you live with that constant fear the whole time in those early days. Is it going to work? Are we going to survive? Is it going to work? Like, you're just doing that.
Hi, my name is Campbell Baron, and I'm a 15-year-old entrepreneur and content creator. And you are watching my video podcast, where each week I meet with inspiring entrepreneurs and talk to them about their journey to success. Hear their stories, experiences, and firsthand what it took to succeed in their field. Why am I doing this? Because I want to learn from the ones who succeed. And you can too.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Slow down just for a minute. Hold up. Take your time. You and me, we're getting in it. I think you know what's on my mind. I'm feeling good.
Welcome back to another episode of The Ones Who Succeed. I'm Campbell Baron, and today I'm joined by my wonderful guest, Rich Pierson. Rich is the co-founder and CEO of the popular meditation app Headspace, which has over 37 million users in over 180 different countries. And as of late 2018, Headspace is valued at over $320 million US. Rich, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. So let's just go back in time. Let's start at the very beginning. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in a place called Kent, which is just south of London, about an hour outside of London. And I grew up in the middle of the countryside. I was an only child until I was 11. So you had to make up a lot of your own fun to amuse yourself.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the things I see with entrepreneurs, they generally are influenced by something.
Yeah.
Were your parents entrepreneurs?
Yeah, both my parents were entrepreneurs. My mum, she had a dress shop when I was about 5. And
Yeah.
she still got that dress shop to today. Like, she's still in the same business. So like 30 years later, over 30 years. And my dad, since he was about 21, 22, he had a heating company. He had me when he was 30. So he was like 8 years into his career there. So yeah, I was always surrounded by entrepreneurs, and it wasn't like, oh, they're entrepreneurs. It was just like they worked for themselves.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a thing. It was just like, oh yeah, they run their own business.
Yeah.
It just seemed pretty normal.
And you saw that in a positive light.
I didn't. Yeah. It was just kind of very normal, and I thought, yeah, it felt doable, I suppose, because it felt so normal. And they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So and they had freedom. So those things, I suppose, were definitely positive.
And what about school?
I wasn't that great at school. I found it difficult with academics. So I went to a very academic school, but I wasn't particularly academic. So that was I found that a difficult thing, because I was always bottom of the class. So it wasn't an easy time for me in that regard, although I did enjoy school.
Why do you think you weren't
academic?
Yeah.
I think I just I found it really difficult to focus on one thing and to sit down. I found it really, really difficult to be in a class. Like, the classroom environment was not an easy place for me to be. So I just struggled with it.
So Rich went to Nottingham Trent University in Nottingham, England, and in 2004 ended up joining a large advertising agency called BBH. Rich was head of BizDev at BBH and ended up spending almost 4 years there. What was that experience like, working there?
It was a great experience. It was a great agency. It was really creative. They did some of the best work, like really seminal advertising work. There were super smart people there. I learned a huge amount. Would never have been able to do Headspace without that experience. It was just great. It had run its course by the end, but while I was there, it was a wonderful experience. It was also really hard and challenging, but I got given a lot of opportunity and responsibility there.
And so at the end of your time at BBH, you experienced this burnout.
Yeah.
And that's quite common with marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
Individuals, people who work in that field.
Yeah.
Could you just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think it's just a sense of feeling very anxious, feeling very overwhelmed, and not necessarily having the skills or the mental capacity or the maturity to be able to handle it. And so in the end, I just burnt out. Like I had nothing left in the tank. And so I think it's a combination of being young, lots of responsibility, not the right skills or training, and probably not doing the thing that was fulfilling me. I didn't feel fulfilled selling deodorant to teenage boys.
Yeah. So that kind of led to Headspace.
Yeah.
How did you meet Andy?
We got introduced by a friend. So a friend, Adam Breeden, he wanted some help marketing his clinic, and I wanted some help learning meditation, and so we did a skill swap.
And that skill swap turned into a friendship, and then eventually a partnership, because while living in the UK, Rich and Andy started Headspace, which at the time was an in-person group meditation studio based in London, England. Essentially an events business, and it was like this for the first 2 years, until something interesting happened. As Headspace events grew in popularity, people started emailing them, asking them to record their sessions as MP3s and sell them online. So they did, and it was working, but their core product, the events, were losing money, and Rich and Andy needed to pivot. So the idea to turn Headspace into a subscription business came to them when they hosted an event in New York. While in NYC, someone literally said to them, "You should sell your meditation sessions online as a subscription service." And immediately, Rich and Andy realized that this was the way to go. So they hustled and built the minimum viable product and relaunched the company in 2012.
Meditation has been shown to reduce stress, to improve focus, and create the right conditions for healthy, restful sleep. Headspace is guided meditation for everybody, no matter who you are or what you do. Whether you're just starting meditating or whether you've been doing it for years. We can help you to train your mind for a healthier, happier life. To get started, visit headspace.com or download our app.
Right away after the app launched, Headspace got some press. For example, they were featured in The Guardian, and after that, it snowballed from there. You launched this product, and then you raise some money, and then that changes everything, right? So what happens? You hire people, you build a team.
Well, we moved the team from the UK to the US.
Right.
So we moved here in 2013. So roughly a year after we launched that first version of the product. And then we launched the second version of the product in about July of 2014. We were still building it in the UK.
Yeah.
And then so it was really a point of, once we raised the money in 2015, that's when we started scaling the team, building everything internally, and just trying to scale it as good as we can. So it was really about putting the infrastructure in place and getting the right people on the bus, as it were.
Coming up, I continue my conversation, but first a quick message from our sponsor. This season of The Ones Who Succeed is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with over 20,000 classes in business, marketing, technology, design, and more. You can take classes in social media marketing, video editing, entrepreneurship, you name it, they've got it. So whether you're trying to deepen your professional skill set, start a side hustle, or just explore a new passion, Skillshare is there to keep you learning and thriving. So join the millions of students already learning on Skillshare today, because Skillshare is offering the first 250 people who click the link in the description 2 months of unlimited access to over 20,000 classes, all for free. To sign up, go to Skillshare.com/succeed. Again, that's Skillshare.com/succeed to start your first 2 months now. That link is also right here on the top right corner of this video, and a special thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this season. So, I guess something that's kind of, I think about a lot.
Yeah.
You were building this early. You were very scrappy at the beginning, and then you got all this money. Did the hustle that you kind of had disappear when you raised money?
Yeah, I think it if I honestly look at it, I think it did change the dynamic. Like, we moved into this office where we are now, And at the time, it was a really big space, but we only had like 46, 47 people. And we were kind of, everyone was a bit like, who are we going to fill the space? We have, and we filled it pretty quick. But I think it definitely changed a bit of the hunger profile of folks. I think it did.
So I guess people who are listening to this probably might be thinking just kind of what we've talked about so far. You launched it was kind of a rocket ship. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure there were challenges you faced.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you just talk about some of them?
Yeah, there's loads. I mean, like where do you start? Like the event business didn't work. Mm-hmm. So there were multiple moments. I think that's what you forget. It's like there were 2 years of like 1,000, 10,000 failures. And we didn't get a lot of things right in those, but we were learning as we were going, but we were making a lot of mistakes. And yes, the subscription worked when we put it up, but then we didn't have any technical talent in-house. So it was all built on, and it wasn't stable and it wasn't going to scale. So there were so many roadblocks that were going to happen. We moved to America. Andy, when we first moved here, we'd only been here about 6 or 7 weeks, and then Andy got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Really?
Yeah, and we weren't sure whether he was gonna survive that. So that was obviously an incredibly difficult thing for him and his family. But we just moved here. Like we had, like the business we was trying to start. We hadn't raised money then. It was like super early on. So those things are really, really tough. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on about all the although the business has worked and has been on an upward trajectory, the actual building of the thing has been really, really tough. Really tough.
Like in the early days, you had to be all scrappy, and then you raise this money, and then we just talk about today. Yeah. It's still tough.
Yeah, I actually think that I take the early days over these days anytime. There's something really. You're scared that you're always going to go out of business and you're never going to be able to pay people's wages. That is just you live with that constant fear the whole time in those early days. Is it going to work? Are we going to survive? Is it going to work? Like you're just doing that. Now it's not so much that, but it's more like how do you scale a business? How do you like run 300 people? We're going to be 500 people next year. Like how the operational kind of challenges that come with a scaling business are really, really tough. And then you've got a lot more people to deal with, more people problems. Like those, it's just a different set of problems. But it just gets hard in different ways. But it's always hard.
So do you consider, like Headspace is kind of revolved around this app?
Yeah.
Do you consider Headspace a media company? Is it a technology company?
Yeah, like I'd say that it's actually. We don't think about it as a media company at all. Actually, we think about it as a product company that's presenting folks with experiences that can help them improve their health and happiness. Mm-hmm. We really believe that technology and our experiences fuel the member experience.
Yeah.
So we do see it as both, very much so.
Why do you think, if you kind of look back at the journey, why do you think Headspace was so successful?
I think that one, it was right time, right place. Like I think launching this in 2010, we were really early, and I think that we had the perfect timing when we launched it, so that we've scaled as the macro. Yeah, have kind of scaled as well as the macros kind of scaled. So I think timing was a massive, massive part of it. I think the team, the types of people that we attracted to the vision. It's been amazing. People that work for us that don't work for us anymore did an amazing job. People that here have done an amazing job. People that have helped us. I think there's so many things. I think the way the brand's presented. I just think we were there's a lot of luck involved in it, I would say, as well as I think we've made some good decisions along the way.
Mm-hmm. So throughout Rich's career, he has always come up with business ideas. However, before Headspace, nothing really stuck. That being said, I wanted to ask Rich one of my favorite questions, and something I think about a lot with already successful entrepreneurs. So do you think you're going to be a serial entrepreneur?
No.
No.
I know that categorically.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is?
Because I think I've got other interests outside of running a business, and there's other things that I would like to do in my life. Like I said, I'd love to work out how we can give back to where all this came from and be involved in that kind of lineage and community. I'd love to explore some things that I never got to explore at school and to learn a bit more about some of the other pieces. And I'm married at the moment but don't have family, but I'd also like to be pretty present if I did have a family. I'd like to be around for my kids rather than, working all the time. So those things for me are, like, I feel like there's a lot of other stuff that I could do with my life. And the idea of running a business, another business, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for me. So I want to make the most of it, but I can't see myself doing another one.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Rich, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Campbell. You have to have an element of not being too scared, because so many things could go wrong all the time, and if you only thought about all the things that could go wrong rather than things that could go right, I don't think you'd ever get out of bed in the morning and do it.
The sort of line around "it's lonely at the top," I just think that's, if you feel as CEO that it's lonely at the top, you're doing a terrible job of surrounding yourself with the right people.